So here's another interesting take on The Last of Us Part 2. This is probably the weirdest one, the strangest one. I don't know what else to call it. This is from Kotaku. Now, Kotaku originally gave a review and had a rather mixed response. They were very aware of what the game was trying to do, and they essentially called it a misery simulator. And they didn't really give it a score either. I don't know if Kotaku does scores, but it was essentially, they didn't like it, but it was okay to play, but it was beautiful, it was amazing, but it just didn't make them feel good, which is kind of the general response from folks. So it's good to see Kotaku's not out of their minds. This is Riley McLeod. But then Riley McLeod made another post about Lev, the transsexual character, which didn't really play much of a role in the story. They just happened to have it. They could have had a normal character that had another problem to go home to go visit their mom because their mom was a religious nut job and wanted to kill their child because their child was acting improperly, and the child ends up having to kill the mom. So they could have had any other reason for Lev to go home and visit their mom, but they decide to make Lev trans. It's like, okay, whatever, doesn't bother me. So that's another hot take by Riley McLeod. But this one comes from Ash Parrish. I love The Last of Us 2, except for all the parts I deeply hated. Try to wrap that one around your heads. This is a great read, guys. I'm going to go through this with you, so you don't have to read it yourself. I do not like The Last of Us 2. I didn't like the first one. It kind of fell apart on me in the final act, and everything I'd heard about its sequel made it sound like a carnival of violence I'd feel okay about abstaining from. And yet, despite the foul taste left from others' reviews, Naughty Dog's childish response, and we're not going to get into that, and my own experience chugging through what is indeed a carnival of violence, I still don't like this game. Sorry. Okay, interesting. I hate the main characters. Whoa. I hate the story. That's okay. When you say story, you automatically say the whole idea of the narrative. So the characters, the pacing, the transitions, everything that's revealed to you. I hate the combat and its visual, so lifelike you can hear enemies choking on their own blood sense of realism. So this person hates everything. The game, the story, the characters. I hate the zombies. They trigger the hell out of my tripop phobia. Is that a thing? Tripop phobia. I guess it is. The aversion to the sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes or bumps. All right, okay. Tripop phobia. And the wolves. And the Seraphites. Everybody in this game is morally gray, except those religious zealots. F those guys, am I right? Okay, so you hate even those who aren't morally gray. Interesting. It's easier to ask me what I didn't hate, which is ironically literally everything else. What else is left? This game is good, aside from the combat, which you hate. It's a masterpiece, aside from everything in it, if not for every single element that makes it the game it is. This person is like saying, I hate hot things, but I also hate cold things. And I also hate things that are neither hot nor cold. You're like, what are you talking about? What is your quality you're trying to ascribe to this game? You don't like the story. You don't like the combat. You don't like the characters. You don't like the enemies. You don't like the groups, the organizations. Like, what are you trying to say? But that doesn't mean The Last of Us isn't a total loss. It's just a few radical changes I imagine we could salvage into something that doesn't wring out the last drops of happiness my dried out sponge of a soul can hold nowadays. So I'm not sure what's going on with this person. It seems like they're having some emotional problem outside of the game, and then they start playing this game, and they go, ugh, if only they did everything different, then I'd like it. It's like fantastic. If only The Last Jedi was a completely different story, it might have been good. You're like, what? Okay. Were it in my power, I'd make a little digital melon baller and scoop everything out. Okay, so I don't grasp this analogy. When you have a melon baller or a scooper, the idea behind that is you make a shape. In this case, she's using a very small tool to remove the entire contents of the melon and then replacing the flesh of the melon with something else. Like, I don't know, ice cream. Scoop out all the guts and leave me with the bones. A world depopulated of characters and story beats and filled with quiet and beautiful empty spaces. Empty spaces? It sounds like you want a safe space in your survival horror zombie adventure. What is going on? The game is too visceral. Get rid of all the game parts and all the story parts and just let me walk around. You're like, what? That's not how games work. You can't just say, I want to explore the level with nothing in it. Like, why? Crafted with so much loving detail, they evoke the same feeling of nostalgia the characters feel whenever they discover something from the old world. Okay, so she likes the idea of exploring, just not with all that nasty little combat parts that a game has. Oh no. Abby, maybe you're just not very good at games or stories or reading or playing. Are you sure you're on the right... Like, I don't know if Kotaku is a gaming website. Like, what is this? Like, who do they hire? Just weirdos? Abby in her quarters, Ellie with her cards. Give me nothing but the towering shelves of the hardware store and the pet shop complete with moss and rust-covered grooming tables. Let me creep along the floor of a crumbling bubbles tea shop thinking with fond pre-quarantine nostalgia. God, remember boba? What the hell is boba? Bubble tea? Okay, I was thinking Boba Fett, but all right. I've never heard of bubble tea called boba before. Interesting. I guess I'm out of the loop. I'm just too old. Beyond picking over bones in the world itself, I enjoyed the game the most when riding my horse through the wilderness. Well, they already have a game like that. It's called Red Dead Redemption. And Red Dead Redemption 2, you could play that game. It's a beautiful game. You don't have to shoot anything. You just walk around with your horse. It's fun. Instead of a misery simulator, The Last of Us 2 should be a post-apocalyptic Pony Express meets Oregon Trail adventure. Okay, who are you? Ash Parrish? What? Do you know what Oregon Trail is? I remember playing that on the C64. Why? And Pony Express? I think you're just referring to just, riding in ponies. What is wrong with you? Are you okay? Would you rather be like on a horse than playing a video game? It sounds like you'd rather go outside. I don't know, pet a dog or something. Like something's wrong. You and your trusty steed navigate ruined infrastructure while dodging the infrastructure. Do you mean like factories? Like what are you talking? Are there factories in the game? I don't remember. I just remember a lot of buildings. While dodging the occasional fungus zombie, close combat being optional in this fantasy of mine, I'll deliver some small innocuous package from one bombed out part of the country to the other. Oh, so you want to play Death Stranding? Because that's where you just walk around the entire United States. Sometimes you get a dune buggy or whatever you call those. Sorry, not a dune buggy, a motorcycle. That's. I think you're playing I think you're thinking of Fallout New Vegas, maybe, where you're delivering an innocuous package, or you're finding out what happened to that innocuous package you were supposed to deliver. I don't think you've actually played this game, Ash. What's going on with your brain? No life or death stakes. What? Why wouldn't you want life or death stakes? That's what makes it interesting. If everything's safe, there wouldn't be all this visceral, violent action. If only this was a completely different game, I'd like it. It's like, are you retarded? Why are you on this website? What is your point? How do they pay you? Why do they pay you? No moral quandaries about right and wrong and vengeance. The characters never seem to grow beyond just you, your horse, and the open road. Okay. It sounds like you want to play Fallout. Or sorry, you want to play Red Dead Redemption. Or, I don't know, Zelda or something. Like, what is wrong with you? My vehement dislike of The Last of Us 2 doesn't preclude me from appreciating its artistry or its writing. But you just said the writing is horrible. particularly with some of the characters. You just said the characters were horrible. You specifically said the characters were horrible. How could you say this? How could you contradict yourself? What is wrong with you? Did you write one paragraph, then go to sleep, and then wake up, and then drink yourself silly, and then write the next paragraph, then go to sleep, and then never read the past two paragraphs? Like, what's going on here? Jesse, Manny, Nora, Dina, Lev, and Yara. In my fantasy game, they can come too. Okay, but you hated them. But fine. My little exodus leading these beautiful people. They're not beautiful people. Everyone's gray. Everyone's a monster. That's the point of these games. To a place where everything's fine and nothing hurts. I don't think you get video games or storytelling or narrative or how to write an essay or how to write a blog post. I want to save them from being caught up in a blood feud between two women who've never heard of a black auntie tell them peace be still. What? Okay. Sure. And likely never will, because in this game, everybody who is named Black and has a speaking role is guaranteed to die. But hey, oh my God. So you are so stupid and so biased and so opinionated. You have to imply, oh, well, in my family or in my experience, we have black people. And all I see are black people dying. Everyone dies. It doesn't matter if they're black, Hispanic, Asian, white, brown, you name it. Everyone dies. Even the mushroom people die. Whatever you want to call those quadriceps monsters. It's called a zombie apocalypse. Okay? You either live to become a zombie or you die. The problems of race aren't a thing. I don't think race is ever contested or brought up, aside from Jesse making a joke about it, because they were joking about whether Ellie was attracted to Jesse, and she goes, nope. And then Jesse says, is it because I'm Asian? And she goes, yep, that was a joke. Or something like that. So to even imply race already tells me where you're coming from. The Last of Us 2 is like laudanum. Okay, there's a cool word. Laudanum. A tincture of opium. Oh, wow. 10% powdered opium by weight. How would you know that word, ma'am? Best enjoyed in small doses. How would you know that? Have you taken this before? What problems did you have? Did you have any mental problems? I'm guessing that's what it's taken for. Alkaloids, morphine, and codeine. Yeah, who would ever prescribe laudanum? Opioid crisis is frightening parallels to drug epidemic of, whenever. I cried when Ellie left Dina and JJ behind. And JJ behind? Is that the kid? Behind, not only because Dina, girl, you deserve better, but also because I know I'd be in for at least another hour of more of straight torture porn. Welcome to you. Yes, that's the game. It's a misery simulator, as your own website has told us. Misery simulator, unless you didn't read that, but okay. My game would be finished in a handful of hours and produced under ethical, crunchless conditions. Okay, so now she's getting meta, I guess. She's going, you know what? Because Naughty Dog is so bad at making games and how they treat their workers, my game would be finished in a handful of hours, which would be a very small game. It wouldn't even be a game. You wouldn't even get code onto the page, let alone compiled, let alone tested, let alone rendered with something attractive looking. But, I'm going to hire all these great workers, and they're going to work under great conditions. And they're going to do it within hours. Okay. It's a handful of hours. Because, you can just catch hours in your hands. That's how hours work. I know people won't want to play my version of this game, and I don't want to fault those who enjoyed the real one. Yes, because you are living in a fantasy land where you're crazy. It's a beautiful game for many of the reasons I've already discussed, but playing it makes me feel the same way I did slogging through BioShock Infinite. Oh, here we go. Let's bash BioShock Infinite because of its racist, jingoist tendencies, its genocidal takes on Native Americans, and its religious undertones. This is your king. Nobody wins. Everyone hurts. And the main characters, the driving force behind everything you see, are so incapable of thinking for just 1 second outside their own selves. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you live in a survival environment. You think for yourself. Eating and sleeping and protecting yourself are a key parts of survival. So, kind of goes with the genre. There's already enough callousness and cruelty in my own waking world. All right, so obviously she plays games to escape, and escaping to an even worse world is probably not a good idea. I can see that. That's a fair argument. And when you argue that The Last of Us 2 is just a pain simulator, you don't want to play it ever again. Why would you? I see no merit in reproducing that in a digital one. That's not to say that every game I play needs to be sunshine and rainbows, but at some point, if realism is the goal, wouldn't either Abby or Ellie stop, look at the pile of friends' bodies and say enough? Well, apparently that's what happened with both Ellie and Abby, if you bother to play the ending. Abby just says, I don't want to do this anymore. Ellie's like, yeah, I'm going to stop trying to kill you because I'm an idiot and this narrative sucks. I know I've had enough. Too much even, which is why I'll be shopping around my alternate idea for studios to pick up. Yeah, good luck with that. You grand video game designer, Ash Parrish, your very comfy armchair where you have this grand idea for a survival horror zombie game where there's no zombies or need for survival. Sounds like a great idea. Get at me, Devolver Digital. Yeah, they'll be happy to make fun of you in one of their next videos. I doubt they'll spend money on any of your ideas. But if Naughty Dog wants to improve its game, I'm open to consulting. Wow, that sounds pretty much like Anita Sarkeesian. Hey, Naughty Dog, you suck. Or rather, hey, random studio, you suck. Give me money so I can make you a better game and you can make more money. Haha, no you won't. I'm just going to be pushing my agenda, which I don't even know what your agenda is, aside from black people are good and I don't like violence, which is retarded because you're playing a zombie horror survival game. I'm open to consulting. Hell, with photo modes, all the rage and the wealth. Photo modes are all the rage? God of War has a photo mode? Okay. All the rage and the wealth of accessibility options and difficulty settings that greatly reduce combat encounters. A mode where all you do is ride through the game doesn't seem too far-fetched. Yes, it does, you crazy lunatic. No one wants to play Pokemon Snap in a Last of Us game. Can you imagine being a photojournalist? I mean, it's possible. There could be some fun parts, but it'll just be avoiding the issue. It's like, oh, there's a zombie coming after me. Click. Oh, it's a zombie biting my arm off. Click. Like, oh, wait, no, she wouldn't have zombies in her game. It's too violent, right? Hollow out the game to its basic components. What is left? What's left if you hollow out the game with all the gameplay? And it becomes playable. What exactly would you be doing in this game where there's no gameplay? Enjoyable to me. Yeah, because you wouldn't be doing anything. You'd be pressing up and down on the controller. Navigating a level. Wow. Make The Last of Us 2 lavishly rendered, post-apocalyptic horse-riding adventure, and then you might have yourself a game of the year. Wow. What insane ego disconnection. This is horrible. I'm sure there are some worse reviews or worse opinions you guys have had of other video games, of how to make a game good or how to improve. This is outright saying, I'm insane, I'm a racist, I hate everything in this thing, except I don't, and I just want to walk around. Reminds me of, what was that, Hefner, or I can't remember her name from BioWare, but if you take away the game part of the game and just get to the dialogue or something like that, Patricia Hefner, I can't remember that quote or that person's name. This is some kind of weird and stupid. I've never heard of it, read a blog like this before. And if anyone has any other blogs out there that are as bad as this, such a bad take, And I'm not saying you have to like the game or hate the game, because Last of Us 2 is divisive, so there's obviously lots of opinions, but I've never seen a response as crazy and insane and egotistical, combined with a little bit of racism. And I hate the characters, but I like them. I don't like the gameplay, but if you remove it all, then you'll have a good time playing the game. It's just insane upon insanity, upon ego, upon person who doesn't know what they're talking about. So thanks for listening to my my reading of this crazy blog post on Kotaku. I know Kotaku is a rag, but I wasn't expecting it to be an insane rag. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great day. Whew.